Turn up the dive, feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wide variety. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, the secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries live. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Spectrum. I am your host, Barnaby Jones from Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. Today, we are live in studio coming to you here on the Untold Radio Network. That's right, guys. If you have any questions or comments, throw them in the comments section. Good morning, Lee. Welcome to the show. Just like Lee, throw them in the comments section. We will get to them as soon as we can. But first, guys, coming up next Friday, if you want to meet me in person, I am going to be at the Milwaukee, Wisconsin Repertory Theater. I'm going to be part of a panel discussing ghosts and the paranormal after their show, The Woman in Black. It is a live stage theatrical performance that is running there now through March. You can get your tickets at milwaukeerep.com. February 21st panel is free with your ticket to the event. Just hang around after the show concludes, and we're going to be talking some spooky ghost stories. So that's coming up next Friday in Milwaukee. And then, guys, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, the Midwest Meta Paracon, April 11th through the 13th in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Mike Rexecker, Aaron Sagers, Cody and Satori Haas, Ronnie LeBlanc, Chris and Kelly Nielsen, Debbie Soleus, Madam Adam, Jason Hawes, Sherry, Allen. The list goes on here. There are so many awesome people going to be there. Check it out. It is going to be Eau Claire, Wisconsin, 3-day event. Get your tickets now. And then, guys, coming up in Wisconsin's Cryptids, Anomalies, and Paranormal Convention, Saturday, May 10th. It kicks off with a Friday meet and greet and Bigfoot hike. And then Saturday is the convention proper with all the great guest speakers. Stacy Brown Jr., Miranda Young, Scott and Hannah Violet, Chad Lewis, Angela Zabel will be giving a psychic gallery reading. Myself, Keg, and Rick and Barbara from my haunted hometown will be there doing a presentation on some other haunted activities that were not shown on the show. And of course, guys, the premiere of The Hairy Man of Dairyland, Wisconsin's Bigfoot.
Right here in the road, and it was right on the line, standing right there.
Whatever it was breaking trees, breaking branches, and I've never heard that before.
And from the basement door, I was like, Louie, I'm pretty sure there's a footprint out here.
And that's when the rocks started coming out of this tree line.
All I seen was hair. And it was like arched over right here.
And then out of nowhere we hear this loud, like earth-shaking grunt.
It rolled its shoulder and grabbed the ground and pulled itself towards my vehicle.
And I heard a plunk, and I come over here, and that squash was laying about right there in the middle of my garden, you know.
How do you walk in that in bare feet? At 30-degree temperature.
Did you see that?
What was that? I saw something dark in the light from the right to the left.
It was big.
Could be the little Bigfoot, maybe?
If you guys can't make it out to the convention in Appleton, Wisconsin in person, you can also get a virtual ticket and live stream or at your convenience. Watch all of the guest speakers for just $5. You will also get a link that is valid for 1 month after to check out the documentary. So in case you can't make it out in person, check that out. And then, guys, June 7th, we head to the Paranormal Chicago Convention, or Chicago Paranormal Convention down there. And then September, we are going to be in Illinois again for SilCon. And that's what we got coming up. So quite a bunch of stuff, as well as some other library presentations as well. Head on over to wisconsincaps.com. Click on the public events tab for all that and all the information. If you guys want to show your support for all things here on the Untold Radio Network, here's how.
Hey, Untold Radio Network fans. Want exclusive perks and to support our channel? Introducing our YouTube membership program with 3 amazing levels. Get loyalty badges that level up to different cryptids the longer you're a supporter. How cool is that? You'll also get access to custom Bigfoot emojis and priority in chat. Upgrade to Backstage Pass for exclusive wallpapers, photos, status updates, discounted books, and merchandise. Go all in with the producer level for everything mentioned plus member shoutouts. Ready for an enhanced experience? Join now, pick your membership level, and let's make this journey even more exciting together.
All right, guys, we are live. So we have questions and comments throughout the show. Throw them in the comments section and we'll get to them as soon as possible. My guest today is June Edwards. She is an award-winning author of 4 books currently. Her latest, All's Fair in Love and Karma, speaks to the lessons our souls come here to learn so they can take advantage of the other side. It was based on the relationship mastery program that she developed in 2018 that has successfully repaired hundreds of relationships and completely changed the lives of those that complete the program. June Edward has been a psychic since child. However, she didn't realize that she was a medium until later in life. Some of her gifts have been passed on since her mother was also a medium. She also passed to the other side herself when she was 27 years old and has come back to this side by choice. She can offer firsthand experiences that life after life does exist. And guys, please welcome to the show, June Edward. Hello, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I get all tongue-tied there and things didn't come out right. And
no, you did great.
Thank you so much for coming on. I hope that you're having a great day as well.
I am. Thank you.
Very good. Awesome. You are joining us from the lovely state of Florida, where it's a lot warmer than I am right up here in Wisconsin, I hear.
Well, it's still chilly for me. It's still in the 70s down here. I'm used to,
Oh,
high 80s, 90s.
30 degrees is shorts weather here in Wisconsin, so I'm sorry I cannot associate with the 70s. But 70s, you're lucky if we have anything on. I don't know. So awesome. So I want to start off. There's a couple questions that I always ask all the mediums or psychics that come on the show. And so first off, I would like to know, when you interact with spirit on the other side, how is it that they come through for you? Do you see an external representation of a person? Do you only hear audio in your head? Do you see or visualize anything in your head? How does it represent for you?
So I know it's different for everybody, but for me, I literally see 3D bodies. I can see the ghosts that are here. And the souls that I'm bringing through from the light, I see them in full form apparition. And it's funny because like I go grocery shopping and every now and then I'll see one, and I'm not working, so I ignore them. But if I give them a double take and they notice that I notice them, then I'm in trouble.
I can imagine. Very cool. The other thing that I'd like to know is, do you have, well, I don't know how to phrase this. Do you have an internal monologue? When you try and figure things out, do you hear your own voice in your head, or can you picture and put things together mentally, or are you just blank?
So the way, I've been training for this for a long time, basically, and doing this for a long time. So for the most part, I'm hearing them speak. If they're able to slow their energy down enough to speak, a lot of them have not mastered that. So a lot of it's symbolism. And they've just taught me this whole long litany of symbols that mean certain things. So for instance, if they show me a pocket protector, it either means that they were an engineer or they felt that they were a geek and didn't fit in. Some of them that have learned how to slow their energy down enough to talk, I have to let them literally just talk right through me because they talk so fast, I'll lose it if I'm trying to repeat it.
Like channeling them.
Kind of, yeah. When I first started doing all this and training and things, I was doing channeling, but there's no reason to let them really channel through me or control me. I'm just letting it talk through me, period. I'm not losing any control of any of my body or faculties or anything else.
My question though was in you personally. Like when you're just living your own life, not channeling or hearing spirit or anything, do you have an internal monologue? Like if you're trying to put together a bookshelf.
I do. Yeah. Oh yeah. But I think more often than not, I'm not really talking to myself. I'm really talking to my guides and the angels on the other side because I'm working with them constantly.
Okay. Very cool. No, the reason I ask is like, there are some people who obviously do not have an internal monologue, like just the average person stuff. They don't like, I hear, if I'm looking to put together a bookshelf for say, I see the bookshelf, I see all the parts, and I mentally put it together inside my head.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. Even when I do my books, I mean, I'm taking notes on my phone when I'm driving, whenever something comes to me. And then I'll go home and I'll start putting it all down on paper. And then I've got this scrambled mess, literally. And I have to talk to my guides on the other side and say, please help me with this. Show me how this is supposed to go together. And boom, I'm cutting, pasting, and boom, there it is.
Very interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. Like I love the way our brains work and how everything goes together. So I'm always interested in how people work, because I find this so weird, like having an internal monologue and hearing my own voice work through problems and stuff. I cannot imagine the people who don't have that, like how they process things. It's really interesting. So I've heard some mediums. For the most part, I think everyone that I've spoken to does have an internal monologue, but I have met people who don't. They just like their mind is completely
blank. My internal monologue is usually telling myself, Jesus, June, really? You should have asked St. Anthony 10 minutes ago and saved yourself some time.
Yeah. That goes pretty much mine as well. Yeah. So it doesn't never is quiet. So awesome. Well, you have your newest book. I guess we can start with there. You have it up behind you, but we're going to pull it up here as well. So All's Fair in Love and Karma, 5 Steps to Relationship Mastery. So what is this all about? What is relationship mastery?
So everything in the world, in the universe, is run by energy. Everything is energy. And everything is relationship. You're in relationship with your employees, your employer, your family, your friends, the person at the grocery store. It's not just a romantic relationship. And I started the Relationship Mastery Program, which is a 7-week online program to help reconcile couples that were having issues and problems. And I only work with one person. It's foolish to try to work with 2 people at a time. You just become the enemy. And my results were incredible. But what I found was that everyone going through the program had at least one of 5 lessons that they needed to learn. And they were always the same 5 lessons that everyone needed to master. And what I've learned since was that we have to learn, our soul has to learn these 5 lessons in order to advance on the other side. Okay. It's all about advancing your soul. And they're not easy lessons to learn. And the book was written, obviously, then from the program, from what I learned from putting all these people through the program.
Interesting. So if without spoiling the book, can you tell us what are the 5 lessons?
Sure. The first one is self-worth. And it's not value, because that's what other people place on you. Trust and communication. And you have to trust that there is a higher power. You have to trust that there is a plan, that you made that plan. And you have to be able to learn how to communicate with people, your wants and your needs, because we don't know by osmosis, right? And then sex is just another form of communication as well. If you can't trust and communicate outside the bedroom, you can't do it inside the bedroom. Unconditional love. And that's very difficult for a lot of people. They live in the drama. They live in the 3D here, which I get, but it's one of the biggest lessons that we all have to learn, because everything happens for a reason. And as much as you think that that person did something to you, they didn't. They were always doing something for you, for your highest and best. Money and balance. Money is energy. That's why it's called currency. And it's what we use in this 3D world to show whether or not your life is in balance, because everything in the universe has to stay in balance. This is why you have left and right, the yin and the yang, heaven and hell. Everything has to be balanced. And then you have patience. And that's a tough one for a lot of people, because everything comes to you in the time that it's supposed to. You can't force it. You can't push it. And you can't make it happen any faster than it's supposed to, unless you're making a deal with the devil.
Very true. Very true. So you mentioned one thing in there about how this is the path that we chose, or we wrote this. So I think let's back up a little bit farther than that and talk about how you chose to come back.
So it was interesting. Everybody's, I never called it a near-death experience. I didn't even know what a near-death experience was for a lot of years, because I died, and I knew I died. And it took me a long time to talk about it, because when something so outside of your box happens, your brain just can't process it. It took me so long to really process it and to be able to talk publicly about it. And then just the feelings on the other side, you take with you your knowledge and all of your feelings. And I always get overwhelmed with that feeling of love for me that was on the other side. It was just, it's beyond words. It truly is. So when I died, I immediately went to heaven. I didn't see a rainbow of light or anything. I immediately was taken to heaven. And I could still see everything that was happening below me. I could see me, what was happening in the room. I could hear the nurses talking at the desk outside. I could see what was happening in the room behind me. But my attention was focused to the front. And I was literally watching a life review, which was like sitting in the front row of an IMAX theater, and was playing out in this huge screen in front of me. And they were showing me, I had a very, very difficult life and upbringing. And I was told after that this was literally an out that I had wrote into my life plan that I could have taken if I wanted to. And they're showing me on this screen all these times in my life where these people came to me and helped me, and happy times that I had. And I'm thinking, all of a sudden I heard from behind me, it's not really your time. You can stay if you want to, or you can go back. It's your choice. And I can remember going through and saying, I'm not going to go back for my family. I wouldn't go back for my friends. I'm not going back for my husband. Why would I want to leave this? And interestingly enough, they did not have my children in this movie. I don't know why. And then it clicked. I said, I've got 2 young children here. And I know that the biggest reason that I came here in this lifetime was for them, and that they brought me the most joy in this lifetime. And as soon as I made that decision to come back, I was literally back in my body in a second.
Interesting. All right. So now I think let's go back and talk about the plan that you say that we write. And you talked about having this built-in out to that. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So it's interesting. A lot of things I've learned from the other side. They're constantly teaching me. And suicide is never an acceptable out. It's never written into your plan. And having known a few people that did take their own life, I was able to talk to them on the other side. And they aren't able to reincarnate until they've gone through a lot of counseling with the Ascended Masters. And every Ascended Master has a soul group. And you reincarnate each lifetime with the people in that same soul group. And there's millions and millions. But basically, it's like setting up a board game. You all get together and decide, I'm ready to come back again. And you, again, all's fair in love and karma. You have to look to see who you owe karmic debts to, who you want to collect karmic debts from, who you want to help with some of the lessons, one of those 5 lessons, or what lessons you need to reinforce in yourself. And you make this plan. And the universe wants you to think you have free will, right? So the universe will offer you down here, door 1, 2, and 3. Let's say you take door 1, you go through it, you get married, you have children, you get divorced. Where are you going to be? In front of door 1, 2, and 3. Most people are creatures of habit. What do? They take door 1 again. They're going to go through, get married, have more kids, and get divorced a second time. Well, if you've learned the lesson you were supposed to learn, you're not going to take door 1 again. You're going to take door 2 or door 3. And you could still get married and get divorced again, but it's not going to be for the reasons that you did the first 2 times, because you learned that lesson. And this is how it works. You can go do a revolving door if you want your whole life and not learn any of the lessons that you came here for, but it's kind of a waste at that point.
Interesting. So you talk in your book about your spirit guides being sometimes your past lives that are either volunteered or chosen to come and help guide you along this path. Is that right?
Well, your spirit guides could be anybody, quite honestly. I think you're talking about your guardian angel. Guardian
angel, yes.
Yeah, your guardian angel is someone that has been connected to you through lifetimes by either a friend, relative, whatever. And they step up to offer to be your guardian angel when you're born. And if no one offers, then someone's appointed. Now, we call them guardian angels, but guardian angels are not angels. Their angels are a completely separate race. They were never human. Their entire existence is to help us. But their rule is if you don't ask, they can't help, because there's rules on the other side, just as there is here. They have to have order, right? But that guardian angel that you have is with you pretty much all the time. And you don't have to ask for their help. When they see that you're in need, they will step in and intervene.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that was my bad. I misspoke there. So my question then is, when you cross over and you're on the other side and you're writing this plan and come back, you become a new version of yourself, right? So every past version of yourself is still an individual entity on the other side? No.
So you have one soul. Your soul is way too big for this body. So some of it's in your body, some of it's over your body that people can see, and they call it an aura. Okay. And the largest part of your soul is in the lowest level of heaven, the 5th dimension. And it orchestrates the timing of all the events that happen in this lifetime. And it has all the knowledge of all your lifetimes. Just one soul. So when you pass to the other side, you're still connected to your last lifetime. Okay, you're still interested in what's happening to the people that were involved with you in the last lifetime. And you don't usually go to reincarnate until everyone from this last lifetime that you were connected with is gone, for the most part. Okay. And time is very different, because the faster you move, the slower time is. So it's about 3.5 to 4 years of our time for a year on the other side. So it's about 350 to 400 years before we're reincarnating again. However, there's exceptions to every rule. I was doing I was trying to bring through a little girl who was a murder victim, and I wasn't able to bring her through, and that's unusual. So I brought through her family members who told me that she had reincarnated almost immediately after she had died. And that's unusual, but it happens.
Okay. So if a family member, their immediate family and everything, so we wait this 300 years. So then is there no way to go back and talk to a spirit of a person who died, like you couldn't bring through like Julius Caesar or something?
I suppose I could, but I wouldn't know it's actually him because I don't know him and I don't have anybody here to confirm that it's him.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like if you ask me to bring through your grandmother, I don't know her. I can bring her through, but then you're going to have to identify the things that I'm telling you to be able to confirm that that's who I just brought through for you.
Right. So then you could, I don't know why I'm using Julius Caesar, but Julius Caesar.
And who knows? He's probably reincarnated a dozen times, so he's not there on the other side anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, we choose to come back. I'm sure we don't have to come back if we don't want to. Ascended masters don't come back anymore for the most part, although Jesus did come back.
Okay. So then what about the spirits that are still here on Earth? The ones that are the ghosts and stuff?
So I call them lower vibrational entities because for me, everything's vibration. You talk about vibration, energy, frequency. It's all different names for the same thing. And this is what I pick up on as energy. And that's what I see as energy. So when I see a spirit, whether they're coming back from a higher dimension or they're stuck here, I'm seeing their energy. Okay. Because they don't have a body. So as humans, we're vibrating in the 400 to 500 range. And when we die, if we do not go into the light, we stay stuck here as a ghost in vibrating at that same frequency. Once they've gone into the light travels at what? I don't know, 300 million miles a second or something. It's a very, very high vibration. So when those spirits come back, I know immediately they've been in the light because that vibration is so high. And everybody can pick up on energy. Everybody's walked into a funeral and felt everybody crying in that low vibration. And then everybody's walked into a wedding or a birthday party and felt that high vibration, right? So you have to tune yourself into picking up on the vibration of everything around you. And this is how I see them. I pick up on their vibration. Sometimes I know they're coming before they do. But yeah, the ghosts that are stuck here are stuck at that low vibration. And until they go into the light, they'll stay at that vibration unless they somehow hook up with a demonic entity, because a demonic entity has a vibration that's even lower than that. It'll give you that really sick to your stomach, pit in your stomach feeling. That's a demonic entity.
Okay. So is there a difference between like the spirits that we're seeing here that are like able to interact versus the ones that are more like a residual, like a repeating, you know, like you hear the woman walks past every night at midnight or something?
You know, I haven't noticed that there's a difference between the two, and I'm going to tell you why. I remember sitting in my house one day, and this was a house I lived in years ago. I'd had it for a long time. It was built in the early 1600s. And it was probably residual energy, but I looked to my right into my dining room. And for probably 10 seconds, I saw a family from 1700s sitting around their old wooden table, which was probably residual energy. But they looked at me and they saw that I could see them. And at that point, they vanished. So I'm not sure that residual energy actually has no conscious to it.
Ah, I see what you're saying. Now, see, I've heard a couple stories like that, similar to that, and I'm wondering, like, there's one in particular where this woman, very similar, walks past her room, sees people in there, and screams. right? And in the past, there was a group of people in that room that see this ghost of a woman come into the doorway, and then she screamed. So they've seen it from both sides in the same like time frame,
Right.
and they describe it more like a time slip or something.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other interviews I had recently was had a lot of questions about interdimensional travel, and I mean, I've done it a couple of times, but it's not something I really study, so I don't have a lot of information. I mean, it's intriguing. You know, there's a thought process that everything is happening at the same time in different dimensions. I don't believe that to be true, and the reason why I don't is because, so I went and asked on the other side a little bit, and your soul does not split that much. The majority of your soul is on the other side. You chose to have another portion of it come here now and reincarnate. And still more of your soul can still split a little bit, but it still sticks to the part that's here in the body. So for instance, when you go to sleep at night, your vibration actually rises and more of your soul leaves your body and goes into that 4D dream state. Hence the reason if you think you're, getting a visit from somebody and it feels real and you wake up right away, it's a visit. It's not a dream. But more of your soul can leave your body. And I've gone into deep meditation and been able to project my soul out and fly over Europe in the 1500s. So you can do that, but it still returns here because this is where it's anchored, basically. So I don't think your soul can split more and go into other dimensions while you're still here in this physical form. Maybe when you're not and you're on the other side, it's a possibility. That I don't know.
Interesting. Guys, we are live in studio today, so if you guys have any questions or anything for June, throw them in the comments section. We'll get them. It's like whenever the interview starts, the comment section goes quiet because they're all over there. And now it's just like, all right, well, interesting. But yeah, so where was I here then? So let's see. When I remember you're talking a little bit about this in your book about like the different deities, because we have every religion has their own spirit guide, master, Jesus, or Buddha and all that. So when people talk about like having a specific religion, does it really matter if you believe in a higher power? Or
it matters that you believe in a higher power. There is a higher power. And it's one of the lessons you have to learn. Trust. You have to trust that there is a higher power. But there's only one. I mean, there's 176,000 Christian religions around the world. Okay. There are so many religions. And I don't even know how many versions there are of the Bible. Then you have the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, there's so much. But they all serve a purpose. They're all right and they're all wrong, but they all serve a purpose. What's frustrating is when people just dig their heels in and because they read this book, it's right. This is God's word. Not necessarily. It's been changed 40 million times and you got 13 books missing. And, there is a God. There is a God, just as there is a devil. And you have to know that. And you have to know that we're also here to help each other, not to judge each other. Okay, so if you don't believe what I'm telling you, that's your prerogative. I'm here to tell you what I know, and that's what I believe is my purpose. Or they wouldn't have had me doing this because this is the last thing in the world I ever thought I'd be doing. Let me tell you. But you can go about your merry way. I mean, I help people that want to be helped, and if they don't want to be helped, that's fine. I can't help everybody. It's that simple. But don't judge people because you think you're the authority on your religion and your God. I'm not that either. And I've met Jesus personally. I'm not the authority either. I can only tell you what they've showed me and what they've told me. But there is a God. So believe that and know that. Are you going to be judged when you get to the other side? No. You're not going to be judged. There's no judgment. No. You're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. Whatever that is, it's the life you chose. This is like being an actor in a play. This is not the reality. The reality is after you die and you go to the other side. That's the reality. And if you're stuck here as a ghost, it's a horrible thing. It truly is. I volunteer my time for a nonprofit called NODA, No One Dies Alone. And, you know, when I get the alert that they're doing a vigil, I get to the hospital as fast as I can, because I want to make sure that that person understands that when they need to leave this body and go into the light, I don't want them to get them stuck here and not going into the light. This is why hospitals are filled with ghosts, nursing homes are filled with ghosts, funeral parlors are filled with ghosts. They're everywhere. It's horrendous. It really, really is crazy. And usually within an hour, I can get them to go into the light.
So why wouldn't they go to the light? Just because they don't know, or because they're scared, or
so many reasons. A lot of them are afraid. They're afraid they're going to be judged, because that's what their religion taught them here. If they were gay or they didn't fit in or whatever, they think they're going to be judged. Now, I can tell you, if they take a life and they have no remorse, they're not going to heaven. They're going downstairs. So a lot of those people will stay stuck here too. And I've tried to move them into the light. And when they're asking me what's going to happen, I've taken lives. I'm like, do you have remorse? No, they deserve. I can't tell you what's going to happen. They're not going to end up going in the light, because when I bring through people from the other side, the only ones I can't bring through are the ones that have taken a life with no remorse. I truly believe they went downstairs. I don't work with anybody downstairs. I don't choose to. I've had to on occasion work with some demons, but I will not work. I choose not to, only if I have to. So the other ones, a lot of them don't know they're dead. I've moved through a lot of children that are here that don't know that they passed to the other side. Maybe they had a high fever or were in a hospital, something. And they're usually still looking for their parents. And it's really, really terrible. They'll go into someone's home and see a woman and start calling her mommy. And the people are all freaked out if they see her. So I move a lot of children into the light. And then I come across a lot of situations with early settlers, like when we brought over the Irish from the Irish famine, or when the Italians all came over and emigrated. They're afraid that they're going to be judged somehow, or that didn't do something right, and they gather. So energy collects, okay? We're either attracting or repelling at any given time, but energy collects. It's like static cling, okay? And I've gone into many basements or many attics, and they're loaded with immigrants from Italy or Ireland, whatever. And I try to move them into the light. And again, they're afraid that they're going to burn or be judged or whatever, which is not the case. But once I talk to them, explain it to them, they're more than willing. I mean, 50, 60 at a time going into the light. And you have other ones. I had a restaurant one time that was haunted by a previous cook. And I tried to move him into the light, and he didn't want to go. Just did not want to go. He was very happy that I had turned the place back into another restaurant. So I ended up making a deal with him, which I don't like to do. But since he refused to go in and he wasn't dangerous, I, told him he can stay as long as he doesn't let the staff see him, because he was freaking them out. Mm-hmm. They would see his full apparition walk in and disappear. And then he was turning all the lights on in the middle of the night. And I told him, you can't do that. My electric bill's through the roof. If there's a problem, you can do that. And that's what he did. The refrigerator was unplugged. He left the lights on. So I'd know there was an issue. But that's the reason most of them are stuck here.
Interesting. There's a lot to unpack there. Let's start with, okay. So if there's a bad person that has committed murder or something, first of all, is that part of their plan, that they made a lesson or something that went wrong?
I would have to say yes, because I do not believe that anyone would make a plan to murder someone, because you don't go back to heaven that way, right?
Right.
So a lot of times things go awry. For instance, you can die outside of your life plan. It happens a lot. I see it a lot. I had a whole car full of teenage girls one day. I was doing readings, and the next weekend I had the same pack of girls there. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Well, one day was her aunt, the next week was her mother. And they all told me that they died outside of their plan. They knew they should not have gotten in the car with the driver. The driver hit a tree. The driver survived. All the girls died. And they had gone into the light, but they were beside themselves, knowing that they had caused such pain for their family because they had died outside of their plan. Yeah.
It's terrible. So if you have one of these souls that has committed murder and now has to be sent somewhere else, they don't get to come back and redo their plan again. They don't get to.
I don't know. I have no idea what happens if you go to hell. I have no clue because, again, you can only focus on so many things.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Everything. That's the reality of it. And I really choose to try to work with the people that have gone into the light or that need to go into the light or are stuck here that I can bring into the light.
That's good. That's good. And that's completely fine because like you said, there's so much. I mean, just
there's so many things. So many things. I mean, you're dealing with cryptids. Yeah, I've seen Bigfoot. Do I deal in that? Not really, because as much as I, would love to see another one, it's not really what I do.
Exactly. Yep. I dabble in so many things and I try and keep up on all of them. And it's a lot.
It's a lot. There's so much in this world that people don't know and don't see because they live in this little box and they're not open to seeing it. And I'll give you a great example. This gentleman, someone is asking me, Lee Warner, can the average Joe talk to a spirit and help them move on? Absolutely, you can. Okay. But again, I would always recommend you protecting yourself with Archangel Michael to surround you with love and light, protect you from any low vibrations, attachments, and harm before you do anything. But absolutely, you can move a spirit on. And I encourage people to do that as much as you can. You don't want them living in your house with you. It's going to drain your energy. Okay. What were we just talking about? We were talking about
taking on too many different things.
Oh, taking on too many different things. Oh, people living in a box and not having an open mind.
There you go. Yep.
So my dad was dying at 93 and he thought what I did was just such a joke. Right. And, I went up to see him one day. He was dying of cancer. And he said, I want to talk to you about what you do. I said, oh, really? What do you want to know? He goes, well, I want to know why my mother stands next to my bed every morning when I wake up. I said, well, Dad, I said, she's going to bring you to the other side and help you transition and go to heaven when it's your time. Well, that's not really what I want to know. I said, well, what do you want to know? Well, how come she disappears after I've had my eyes open for, 5 or 10 seconds? I said, Dad, she hasn't gone anywhere. She's still standing right next to me. You can't see her because your brain won't let you believe that she's here. And this is what happens. People, we have a brain in our head while we're here. And other than it being a computer, it has a specific job. Your brain's job is to protect you. How does it do that? It does it by creating fear. So people make all their decisions based on fear. And fear is what stops people from believing that there's an angel standing in the room. Your guardian angel is right next to you. That there is, if you believe there's a heaven and you believe there's a God, how can you not believe that these other things are real and they exist? You have to. And the more that you do, the more you open your mind, the more you will see. Mm-hmm. Everyone that's gone through my program, the Relationship Mastery Program, every single one of them, I have taught how to meditate properly, and they have psychic ability. Everyone has psychic ability and mediumship ability, but I have taught them how to enhance that so that they can talk to their loved ones. They can see their loved ones.
Interesting. That's awesome. Lee would like me to point out that she's a girl.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lee. Believe it or not, I know a guy with almost the same name, Lee Warmer, Wormer. Yeah.
Nice. Lee is very good spirited. She's not upset, just funny. So
this time you're a girl. Maybe you'll be a guy next time you come back.
Exactly. See, there you go, Lee. Something to look forward to. Well, let me ask you this then. So children tend to be very open to these things, the other side, seeing things, experiencing things, and all that. You mentioned that a lot of the spirits that are stuck here are children. So my question is if when they're still young and they know that they came from this past life, that they know that they came here, how come they don't remember that enough when they do pass to know where they're going?
So you come here, like I said, to play a role and to play a part. Okay. You're in this body. It's like an avatar. Okay. When you're born, you come through as a baby with all the knowledge of your past lives. This is why you see, 8, 9, 10-month-old babies standing up in their crib and interacting with someone that you can't see. Okay. I've been blessed that my last 2 grandchildren that were born, I was able to talk to and ask them why they chose my son as their parent and what they're going to do when they grow up. It was amazing. But as they get older, they forget their past because they're not supposed to remember it while they're here. It's that simple. You're here to live this lifetime. So unless you're the rare child that remembers his past lifetime and isn't spewing it out at 5 and 6 years old, 99.9%, even children, have forgotten that they came here and their past lives and things by the time they're able to talk. I mean, my first memory of having any psychic ability was about the age of 3. And, I thought I heard my parents calling my name, and I get up and there's, they're fast asleep. And I went back to bed and started seeing all the people standing around my bed. And I didn't remember anything about coming here for any reason or where I came from before. And that was at 3. So it's gone long before that.
Interesting. Now so I think you said in your book that you didn't realize that your mother was a medium when you were growing up.
No, like I said, I came from a very difficult childhood, and my dad had kidnapped the youngest 5 of us when I was 10 and told us that my mother was crazy. And I didn't see my mother until I invited her to my wedding when I got married at 21. So 11 years, I didn't really see my mother at all. And it was difficult for us to have a relationship after that because she had such guilt. But she was very proud of me. And I would have her at my house for Thanksgiving and Christmas, as well as my dad. And that's when I kind of learned that she was a medium. She wasn't crazy. And when my abilities opened up and I went and started training, I was training at places she had trained at 50 years earlier, and they remembered her. There was still a couple people in their 90s that had remembered my mom. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I guess it doesn't fit so much with this because you weren't raised by your mom and that. But if a person with family lineage of this, like your mother was, your grandmother was, etc., something like that, if you're raised knowing all of this information, like it's just this is the way your family teaches it, that there is another side, that's spirit and you can communicate and all that stuff, do you think that a child that was born into that would have a more ability to remember things, like and see things obviously, but like with the past life and stuff like that? Because like we said, when you're born, this is all kind of still right there, but we lose it for whatever reason because as you grow up, people say,
well, I think it might help the child as they're growing up because most parents, if somebody comes and says they have this invisible friend, most parents are like, no you don't, yeah. I remember my middle son, it was a big joke when he was a kid because he had an invisible friend named Urfie. And Urfie was sitting down at dinner table with us. Urfie was coming everywhere. And I kind of figured it was a ghost, to be honest. I wasn't picking up any bad energy or any bad feelings, but I wasn't really seeing full-fledged apparitions at that point either. But I didn't discourage it. We just laughed about it and said, yep, Urfie can sit right next to you, and, kind of went along with it that way. Knowing what I know now, I would not encourage that in parents because you don't know whether or not, with the energy, whether or not it's demonic. They target children and they'll present themselves as another child to target the child. So I wouldn't encourage it. So I don't know if that would make any difference with a child, to be honest with you. I kind of equate it to playing a piano. Some people sit down and all they can play is chopsticks, right? Because everybody has psychic ability and mediumship ability, but some people don't have much. They sit down and play chopsticks. Other people really want to develop the skill, so they'll learn a couple of songs, right? Some people want to do it as a profession and they become a concert pianist, right? And then I'm kind of like the child prodigy that just sits down and plays Mozart. It just, I mean, I couldn't stop it, quite honestly. It freaked me out when I was a kid and when I became an adult, because I didn't know how to turn it off. And it's the old adage, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I'm very grateful for that, because I didn't know how to get these people out of my life. It's pretty tough when you wake up every morning and you got 30 people around your bed, and you're seeing these things and they're like, you can see me. I'm like, oh, pretty freaky.
Interesting. Well, we are coming up here on the last 10 minutes of the show. So if you guys have any questions, again, throw them in the comments before we wrap up here. So you also have 3 other books. Tell everyone about those and what they're about. What can we get from them?
So my first book, A Night on the Other Side, is kind of a guidebook for people that want to try to develop their mediumship and psychic development skills. It's everything that I would teach in the class when I was teaching mediumship and psychic development. Dancing with the Universe is my autobiography, because I had so many people that I was counseling that would be, you don't know what I've been through. I'm like, yeah, really? Guess what? And the last book is, it's a journal. It's the Destiny Card Journal. And if anybody knows anything about the Destiny cards, they are the regular deck of playing cards that we use. They're called the Cards of the Magi. And our Gregorian calendar is based off of those cards, believe it or not. There's 52 weeks in the year. There's 52 cards in the deck. They add up numerically to 364. If you add in your joker, you have your 365 days of the year and your leap year. You have 4 seasons, you have 4 suits, you have the red and the black, or the day and the night, you have 13 moon cycles, you have 13 court cards, 12 months of the year, 12 cards in each deck. They're very accurate. Everyone's life breaks down into 13-year cycles, 7-year cycles, 7-week cycles, 7-day cycles, and 1-year cycles. And I've been able to predict birth, death, house moving, selling houses, changing jobs, all kinds of things. So if anyone would like a reading with that, you're more than welcome to book that on my website as well, juneedwood.com. So the journal is actually for people to write their thoughts in on every new moon. So you can keep track of the things that you're asking the universe to help you with, and you can go back in that after and see how they've brought everything you've asked for to fruition. It's amazing.
That's cool. I did not know that. So that's fascinating. Awesome. All right. And you have a big event coming up as well. You want to tell everyone about that?
I do. I have it's a retreat on Carnival Epic cruise ship going out of Port Canaveral March 1st. It's a 7-night cruise. I'll be doing 4 workshops on that. I'll be doing teaching people an introduction into those destiny cards and doing a mini reading for you as well. I'll be doing a mediumship and psychic development workshop. I'll be doing a refresher and an introduction into the relationship mastery program for anybody that's interested in that as well. There'll be a lot of past students that have gone through the program that'll be on the ship as well. And I'm going to do a mediumship gallery as well for anybody that wants to bring through some friends or loved ones for their passed over to the other side. It should be a lot of fun. There's still some rooms available, so if anybody's interested, there is information on the website under events as well that will take you there.
Very cool. And of course, we have your links to your books and your website in the show notes for anyone that's interested in that. If you didn't get a chance to write it down or anything, whatever chosen platform you are listening to this on, just click on the show notes there and you can find all of that. So as we wrap things up here, what is your big takeaway from this? What is it that you want people to know? What is your final thought for people?
I'd love it if people would stop being mean to each other and taking things so seriously and they live for drama. It's crazy. It's like, get off the soap opera, start enjoying your life. You're literally here for the blink of an eye, and you're really here to learn those lessons and to help each other. That's the reality. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. I grew up being bullied. It's not fun. And you've got adults that are bullying people, especially with all the social media. Mm-hmm. It's like, wake up. That's not why we're here.
I always think about this when people say stuff like that. Is I do a lot of I used to do makeup and theatrical stuff in that. And I would go back into these high schools and help out with theater programs in that. and you're walking down the hallways. And from when I graduated to now, everything is so different. Like back in school, you used to have, the little kitty hanging on the branch that says hang in there, or, like read a book or stuff like that. And now you walk down these schools and it's all anti-harassment, anti-bullying, all this stuff. Like, we didn't need that back in my day. You knew that, you just didn't.
It's something that's been encouraged, I think, in the last few years, to divide families, to divide people instead of uniting people. Because think about it, a united front of people is a threat to power, right? But that's what people have to do. I mean, there's a village somewhere in Indonesia that someone had gone and from National Geographic. And, they gave one of the kids like a candy bar or something, right? Instead of this kid running off to eat the candy bar, the entire village, all the kids sat down in a circle, right? They stick their feet out, their hands touch, and they all sit there before anybody does anything with this candy bar. And like literally, it's like they try to divide it up enough so the entire village can get a piece of this little candy bar. It's like they share everything. Everyone's included. No one is excluded. And this is how it should be.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Their survival is based on working together and living together and stuff.
No one's an island. No one made it anywhere alone. I don't care who you are. You did not get where you are by yourself. Okay? Babies don't change their own diapers. They don't feed themselves. You did not get here alone. I promise you.
Oh man, that's definitely good advice right there. It's so important. Like the whole world right now, like you said, is just so divided and torn apart and that, and it's gotten worse because of the recent situations, since 2020 and
it was planned. It's all part of a plan. It's evil, and everything that's happening is not political. Please know that it's all good versus evil, and good wins. God wins every time. Know that. Have faith. Be part of the solution, not the problem.
Absolutely. Perfect advice. Perfect way to wrap up things here. I appreciate your time. Your book is amazing. It's well written, well knowledged, well thought out, and it's a perfect guide for anybody that's looking to get into it and just get a basic understanding of everything that's going on. And I definitely recommend it. So,
thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate your time. And I'll see you later.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that is our show for this week. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening. Lee, I love the fact that the one thing you take away from reincarnation is that you get to pee standing up if you become a man. So that's very Lee. I love it. I love you. All right. Looking forward to being a man so she can pee standing up. There you go, Lee. All right. That is our show for this week, guys. We are coming up. I got some exciting news coming up, guys. Both of my shows hit their anniversaries coming up early March. It will be the Monsters on the Edge 100th episode and the Paranormal Spectrum's 50th episode, both in the same week. I don't know how it fell that way, but that's the way it is. So, guys, that is, I think, the first week of March. So we got some pretty cool stuff coming up here on this show. We'll talk about that next week. So something for you guys to look forward to, and something for you guys to be excited for. So, because I know I am. And with that being said, guys, remember, as we go into this week, that we are all part of the paranormal spectrum. Take care, be well, and I'll see you next week.